Well, the coalition is grappling what to do with a very low showing in the polls and also, of course, the threat of One Nation. Senator James Paterson says it must tackle populism while also defending the best of Western institutions. Joining me now is Liberal MP Mary Aldred. Thanks very much for your time. You sort of come in the cauldron when it comes to timing your entry into politics, so I'm sure these are things you think about a lot. James Paterson has said to counter populism, and One Nation obviously being the elephant in the room, you need to take head on some of their arguments. Thinking about your electorate, why do you think voters are being tempted by One Nation?
Well, thanks very much, Tom. I think James makes a number of good points about the far left and the far right in terms of populism and the importance of our institutions in this country. I've just been out in Bass Coast this morning. I've met with the Historical Society. I've done a Veterans Roundtable and a mobile office with our wonderful state Liberal candidate, Rochelle Halstead. People are talking to me about the cost of living, number 1, 2 and 3. They just can't get ahead. And so I understand the frustration that many people are feeling. But at the mobile office this morning in Inverloch, people were coming to me with issues around capital gains tax, small business. They have understandably a number of frustrations, but they're looking for solutions as well. And so the coalition is a solutions vehicle. We are the only team out there putting together a plan on how to address the many problems that people face right across this country right now.
Is it fair to say the coalition's entered this phase of, yes, offering your own solutions and policies, and we've got the new printout Angus Taylor goes around with, but also trying to go to what it sees as a credibility problem for One Nation when it comes to the policies it's offering and how much in particular they might cost?
Well, my number one obsession is the issues that my community are facing and how I can be part of a team that addresses those issues. What Matt Canavan and Angus Taylor, our front bench, have done this week is put out a positive plan to address those issues. So lower taxes, cheaper energy, less migration and more housing. Those are the things that people are raising with me right across this electorate, and they have the reasonable expectation that as a party of government, the coalition will come up with a plan on how to address those things. We've got a lot of work to do between now and the next election. We need to get out there every single day and win the trust and confidence of the Australian people, putting our best case forward about why we deserve as a team, a coalition team, that support. And that's what we're doing. That's what I'm doing as a local member in my electorate of Monash. And I know all of my colleagues right across Australia are doing the same thing.
Announcement from the Labor government today of $4.6 billion. This is for the Osborne shipyards. A big part of this, obviously, getting ready to be able to build AUKUS submarines. A lot of money, but I guess it's, well, as soon as you talk about the AUKUS subs, it's always a lot of money.
It is, but it's important. The best defence you can have is deterrence. The coalition obviously initiated AUKUS. We're very supportive of it. I think that bipartisan support is important. What this announcement this morning will do adds to, I think, $3.9 billion that was announced earlier in the year. It's great for, obviously, the core defence objectives there, but more broadly, industry skills and jobs in South Australia, in electorates like my good friend and colleague Tom Venning, the member for Grey, who's very ambitious and optimistic about these opportunities. I think also AUKUS Pillar 2, as someone that represents a very innovative electorate, I see some great opportunities for AUKUS Pillar 2, the technology and cyber components, where Australian small businesses who really excel and have expertise at doing one particular thing very well will be able to make a major contribution to that part also.
I wanted to ask you as well, you're at the National Press Club this week, 3 different people talking about the issue of illicit tobacco, illegal tobacco in Australia. We know it's multifaceted, but one of the things that usually policy people are sort of reluctant to embrace is now being suggested, or it was by all 3 people on the stage, that is legal cigarettes need to be significantly cheaper, and also that vapes will need to be accessed more easily, and that is legal vapes. Is that something the coalition will formalise as a policy pretty soon?
This has turned into a national crisis, and as I said on Wednesday, I think this will be remembered as one of the greatest public policy failings in a generation, which the Labor federal government are responsible very largely for. Angus Taylor's asked me and Senator Richard Colbeck, as co-chairs of the Coalition's Illegal Tobacco Task Force, to do the policy homework, to put the hard work in, which we've done by consulting with law enforcement, economists, medical doctors and public health officials to speak about a range of solutions, because there's no silver bullet to this, Tom. I think we need a Swiss Army knife approach. I've been saying for a long time now that you can't get out of this issue without addressing the exorbitantly high tobacco excise tax hikes. Since 2012, there's been a 282% increase. That's now driving people to the illegal market. But I also think, we've got to look at beefed up law enforcement. I think a lot of state and federal law enforcement officials are doing their very best job, but they've got one hand tied behind the back. The Prime Minister should be calling a national cabinet meeting to be able to better coordinate state and federal government responses. But Richard Colbeck and I are doing that hard work. We'll put that back to Angus Taylor and the leadership team for consideration, and they'll be able to develop a final policy from there.
Mary Aldred, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thanks very much for having me on, Tom.